Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's Mary, and today I am getting into this July card kit from Simon Says Stamp. Oh my goodness, it is so fun. The attitude that it brings is just happy, bright, cheery, fun. I love it. So I realized that over the last couple kits that I've gotten, I haven't used the cardstock as much as I would have liked. So I am going to start off this first video with making my cards and using the cardstock that came with it, the pattern paper, as the focal point. So what I'm doing is cutting down all of my pattern paper that I wanted to use. I chose 8 of the 12 to make as focal points. And I'm just going to cut those down so that they can be a little bit smaller on the front of my mat. Now the cardstock that came with the kit is going to be the cardstock colors that I use to mat this pattern paper. And so I'm just getting those all lined. Now I'm going to go through and I'm going to match up each of my pattern papers with my colored cardstock. So I'm just picking out which ones look best. I had no rhyme or reason here. I didn't know what I was going to do with these cards. I basically just knew, let me match up colors and then let me figure it out as I go. And so risky as it was, the moment I started, I just started getting inspired by this kit. First one up is going to be a very clean and simple card. I picked this sort of looks like a beachy wood background, and I'm going to stamp with different colors. I'm using Distress Oxides, and I'm going to heat set that with clear embossing powder. I use the Oxides because it'll stay a little bit wet longer, as well as the Versa ink there. And I'm just going to heat set that to give it a little bit of flair, and then that card is done. Super clean and simple. I like the colors on there. I like the softness. It reminds me of beach decor. And so again, this first card out the gate was extra simple. All right, the next card that I've got going is this bikini cardstock, the pattern paper. How cute is that? So I saw this yellow polka dot. They had to do that on purpose. The itsy bitsy teeny weeny yellow polka dot bikini. Yes, so I could not resist. I cut out with the die that came with the kit, popped it up on some yellow foam tape, fun foam, and then I've just rounded my corners on the cardstock. I used some of the pattern paper for a scallop so that it would make the bikini stand out more. And then I used some fun foam to pop that up. Most of the cards have fun foam because they don't have a lot going on, so I just wanted to give them some dimension. Fun foam, I like to use some really strong score tape to make it stick, and so I've placed that down. Then I decided this was a good time to do my sentiment. Thank God it worked out, because normally you don't want to do that, but I stamped it out with bikinis are like fries, you can't just have one, and I thought that was super fitting for this pattern paper. So that's that card. Moving on to the next card, still using the same sentiment, and now I've just taken the stamp of the bikinis and I'm placing that on that really pretty, bright, colorful paper. I'm going to pop up my sentiment with some foam tape and then the entire pattern paper with some fun foam. And so this card was, again, very simple. The only extravagant thing I did was I heat set emboss the sentiment with white embossing powder. And so there's a close-up of that card. Again, very simple, but so fun to pull out those bikinis and just make them a focal point there. All right, the next card that I went into, I got to use some stuff that was in my stash that I believe I've had for years and I've never used, i.e. this camera. And so I popped this out with black fun foam, black cardstock, and I'm going to place that together with some Tombow Mono adhesive. That's going to go on the top of this really fun pattern paper that's talking about smile, fun, beach, summer, all that good stuff. And then I used an old die I had in my set as well, Smile. Very intricate die, so I had to be careful with that. But I'm going to use the black Smile as the shadow for the sentiment. If I just used the pattern paper because it's so thin, it kind of got lost on that paper. So I use this black as a shadow to kind of give it a little bit of oomph, and so you can see it a lot better. So I'm going to adhere that with, again, some liquid adhesive. When you're doing this, you want to put a super light coating of that adhesive on, or else it'll just glob all over. So just be careful when you're doing that. I'm putting this down because it is sticky back, so that made it super easy. And then in the center, there's a little heart there that I popped out and cut out with some pink glitter cardstock. And so I just popped that right in there. I'm going to cover the camera and the smile with some Spectrum Noir Sparkle pen, just to give that a little bit more fun, flair, and glitter. All right, so that is that card finished there. Super easy and simple and fun. And another exciting, I guess you could say, very bright card. That's the word I'm looking for. Okay, this next card that I'm going for here is going to be more of a nautical look. And so I have partial die cut that circle in the front of this card. And I made it just big enough to put a little sentiment in there. The sentiment that came with the kit, beach please. So on the front of the card, my sentiment's going to say time to relax. Then you open it, it says beach please. And so that's the idea there. So I've stamped that out, and I just use regular runner adhesive to fix it. But before I did that, I stamped the waves right under the beach. So when you open it, you can kind of see the water underneath that phrase. I cut out a frame to go around to kind of look like that. You're on a ship with the circle windows. That's the look I was going for there. And I've tied some yellowish mustard seed, I believe it is from Stampin' Up, baker's twine around, and then took some silver, I'll link what that is below, but just to make some dots there to make it look metallic. And then that is the card there. So that one was a lot of fun to do and adds a little bit of a different element. Had to get a shaker in, you know me and my shakers. So I had to get a shaker, and I used this really fun, beautifully blended colored background. And I'm just going to make my shaker like I do normally, and I'm just taking some of the acetate that came with the kit, covering up that circle. Now this die is from Simon Says Stamp. They sent it to me for free, I believe, in one of the orders that I had. Maybe it was over a certain amount, I'm not 100% sure, but I got that die. It's from Memory Box. And instead of fun foam, because it's a circle, I'm going to use instead of foam tape, I'm going to use fun foam. And I've just cut out a bigger circle in that so that it wouldn't impede. I am going to stamp my sentiment on the front here, and I'm using the shadow look again, first with the yellow down. Now this was a mistake actually, because I thought the yellow would stand out enough, and it did not. Got lost in there with all those other words. So what I did was went back over it with the Versamark and then some black embossing powder. Now I used my anti-static powder tool really well on that, because black embossing powder tends to speckle, but this came out really nice. And so when I heat set that, you got a little bit of the yellow background, but it came out really, really bright. That black embossing powder is wonderful. Okay, so there I have finished. I put in some yellow beads. I put in some sequins that came with the kit, as well as some gold ones. And that is the shaker card there. You have no idea how much you brighten my day. That stamp came from a Jelly Bean stamp set. Moving on to the next card here, we have this sentiment again from the same stamp set that I just mentioned, Jelly Bean. It says, there's always sunshine after the rain. So this is a nice encouragement card here. I didn't do much with this card because I thought that pattern paper was absolutely gorgeous. So the only thing I did here was I did the double layering with the yellow on top this time. Now, I thought it looked really cool. And when I started to melt it, it kind of melted a little bit into each other, but I didn't mind. I actually really liked it. So I finished up that heat setting, and then afterwards I added some fun foam, just like I have been, and then I added some of those Pretty Pink Posh sequins that came in the kit. Again, I kept this one extra simple because of that cardstock. That pattern paper is just gorgeous, so I didn't want to mess with it. Okay, moving on to the very last card in this video here. I'm taking out that stamp die, and here I made a boo-boo because I crossed the stamp over itself, and so it kind of made a little bit of a smudge. I'm going to fix that later. I'll show you. So I'm going around and I'm stamping this wave all the way around this border that I made. Then I'm going to pop this border up on some foam with some foam tape, making it easy. And I'm going to then place it on top of that watermelon pattern paper. The watermelon pattern paper was super fun. I thought I'd add some really summery elements to this card. I had some of these glasses die cuts in my stash. I took that leftover sun die from the last shaker card. And now I'm going to do the inside. I've said, what are you up to? It's so cute. And then I put the waves underneath that. And I go back to the front here. I'm all over the place with this card. And by the way, my desk is never this messy when I craft, but I just couldn't stop. I just kept going. So I apologize for that. But I'm going to add some of the leftover glasses that I had, the die cuts, and I'm going to put that on the inside. Now on the front, I fixed the boo-boo by cutting out some of those little watermelon pieces and just putting them right over where I didn't like that piece of it. So it looks like an extra embellishment. And I'm finishing off this card with some glossy accents on the sunglasses. And that will do it for this card. I hope you enjoyed this video where I did 8 cards using this kit. I had so much fun with the pattern paper that came with it. This is probably one of my favorite kits so far, and only because I wasn't able to get the coffee kit back in the beginning of the year, because I really wanted that one. However, I love this kit. I hope you had fun. And don't forget to hit subscribe below, and if you have any comments or questions, I'd be happy to hear from you. I'm also on Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, and my blog. And that'll do it. Have a wonderful weekend. Happy 4th of July. We'll see you back soon. Bye-bye.